So guys, Gaz at Fermented World, and today I am brewing something rather random. I've got some gooseberries picked from my garden. Not a load though, not a massive amount, but yeah. I've got some fresh mint also picked from my garden, which I am going to bruise and then put in. Nicely drying out there. And I've got some lemon. Now I'm only going to use half of this lemon. The idea was to use a full lemon, but I spoke to my lad and I said, what do you think? And he says, I think it'd be best with just half a lemon in, because I want the flavour from the mint. That is what I'm going for here, for this mead. So I'm literally going to grate this, rind and all, because I want all of that flavour, all of that juice. And this was pre-frozen, by the way, which is going to make it a bit difficult when it comes to grating it, but we'll do what we can. It's lost all of its consistency, totally just a load of mush. But as long as I can fit it in the fermenter, I'm not really too bothered. But I wanted some of that rind in there, you see, cut up separately. Right, so that's all mashed up nicely. I'll take the juice out of that, get all that gunk in there because we want that. All that's in there. Move that out of the way. Rest it on my pumpkins, ready for Halloween. Might even freeze some of the pumpkin inners to create a pumpkin mold. Oh, I need to wash my hands quickly. I'm going to put this towel over here so I can just keep using it whenever I need it. That's that. I'm going to pop that in there with that. That was pre-frozen as well. Whoa, pardon me. So I'm going to do all this in a pitcher today to start with, and then try and get it into the demijohn after. So lemon and other shiznay in there. We are going to be using 2 Hilltop Blossom honey, really cheap, Tesco's, £3.50 for 720 grams. I'm going to use 2 of them and 1 of these, which is a really cheap kind of honey. So let's whack this in there. I'm actually going to speed this up as well, because pouring honey is not all that exciting. So I'm going to give it a little quick zzz. Right, so that's all of that honey in, well, most of it. There's still some left in the jar, and these are just dripping down for whatever can be collected from them. Now I'm going to take the mint leaves and, like tea, I'm going to bruise them. I'm going to rub them in my palms and just try and release all that stuff, flavour and so on and so on. Mainly because I want this to be predominantly minty more than anything, but as well as the mint, I want that sweet flavour, as well as the sour. So sweet from the honey, sour from the gooseberries and the lemon. So I'm just gonna kind of mash it all up a little bit and then just drop it in. No fannying around, but oh, it smells bloody gorgeous. Going to add some more honey in now from these containers. In fact, I'll do that in a second. Sorry about that, it was my lad telling me that it was actually bedtime, so good on him. I'm going to add some water to this now, fill it up to roughly probably around 4 litres and see where we're at if we need to add any later once it's in the demijohn. I'm going to speed the adding water up just because it takes time and it's just lame. Right, so that's all of it in there now. I actually put a bit too much water in, but we'll see where we're at the end. That's about 5.5, so hopefully one of these, sorry, 4.5. Hopefully one of these will hold enough. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna mix it up, get all the honey into the water, which takes forever, I might add. So I'm gonna go put the lads to bed, and then I'm going to come back and carry on with this. Get it going a little bit. And it should whiz around for a second or two and do it by itself. And I'll be back. Tip: when mixing your honey into your water and you think you're done, mix it some more. Because it's one of those things that doesn't really dilute very well into water because of its consistency. I think I'm nearly there now. I reckon I've done it. But you always just want to add a little bit of air in there as well. I prefer to do that now. Quite like doing it in the pitcher, to be fair, because it's a bit easier than spinning the this around in there. I think this oxygenates better. I'm going to be using Lalvin EC1118. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the actual name of the flipping yeast, but it is an ex-Bianus in layman's terms. Now I need to get this and get rid of that. I'm actually going to mix my yeast, sorry, the nutrients into this jar that's actually got some honey left in it. So that won't be a bad thing. Might not be supposed to do it, but I don't give a rat's ass. What's the worst that could happen? A level tablespoon per each gallon. Mix it in. Double check it's dissolved. It hasn't. There we go again. Yeah, perfect. Pop that in. Give it a mix. Lots of mixing involved. Right, now it comes to the time where I'm not going to bother adding that tiny little bit because there's a bit too much volume in there anyway, so we're a little shy of what we think we've got in there. Now we take a hydrometer reading and we make notes. The reason we do this is so that we know A, where it's starting and when it's finishing, and some little bugger has stole my pen. So I shall be using this because it's just right near me. So today's date is the 24th, maybe? I'll have to figure that out. But we're going to take a hydrometer reading, is what we're going to do. All this stuff's been sterilised. Absolutely everything that's touching this has been sterilised. apart from the fruit and the mint leaves, but I'm not really too bothered. You just got to go with the flow sometimes. Oh, we're way over 100, that's good. So, where are we at? Oh, hydrometer. 110. $120 on the dot, which is sweet. Which is actually very sweet. Excuse the pun. Right, so 120. We'll write that down now so that we don't forget. Start gravity. 1.120. Now we transfer that into the sterilised demijohn. Now this is going to be the tricky part. I will speed this up because it might take some time because I've got to piss around putting all the odds and ends in there that are in there as well, like all the big floaty bits. So speedy. So that proved very tiresome. As you can see, I didn't get very far. And the funnel got blocked straight away with the chunks of gooseberry and lemon. So we're just going to try and steadily pour it in here as safely as possible. So I've got it in, but now I'm wondering whether, still some gooseberries in there. Come on. Aww. Gooseberry down. I'm wondering whether I haven't left enough headspace. I don't know what this is going to do. I've never done this before with this kind of mead or melomel, whatever you want to call it. I probably called it a mead because only the things I'm putting in it are only to flavour it slightly. Right. Now we pitch the yeast. In fact, no we don't. We check the temperature first. Although the temperature should be fine because I haven't used any warm water. So if anything, it'll be cold. Pardon me. We've done that. I am still going to check the temperature. Just because I don't want to get further down the line and think, was it because I didn't check the bloody temperature? Yeah, that's really cold. That's 17.3 degrees Celsius. So, I need to wash that out now. I'm actually going to wait a short while for that to come up to room temperature. And then I'm going to pitch the yeast. So I'm going to lock it off with the airlock and wait for that temperature to come up. Because I don't want to upset the yeast, because I'm not actually sure of the effect, to be honest. I don't know whether that would kill the yeast, making it too cold, or it'd just make it go dormant. I'm not sure. So I'm just going to leave that like that for now, so nothing can get in there. Let it come up to room temperature. We'll check it again, and then pitch the yeast once it's a bit better, at a better temperature. Shouldn't be that long, couple of hours maybe. Should be heating up as we speak, but it's going to take a long time because of the amount of volume. So I'll be back. Right, so I've already pitched the yeast. Forgot to start a video. So yeast is in. Just going to give that a little swirly whirl. Let it go going around. Get rid of that. Get the little stopper bung. I'm going to get some beans. Like that. And then we're going to seal it up and see what happens. Now I'm using this airlock instead of the one that I did have attached because I may very well have to stick a blow-off tube to this. So I'm just going to get prepared with the tubing that I'm going to need for the said blow-off tube. And I'm probably going to put this on anyway, just for the grin. Because if I don't, it could be a catastrophe in the morning where there's just shite everywhere. And that's that. We've seen it about a month. Right, so now I have actually put a blow-off tube on it because I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. The level here is quite high. There's not a great deal of headroom. So you see that there on the other one? That's an ideal amount of headroom. Even with the stuff on top there, it doesn't really matter, but headroom's like that. And we're there. So big difference. There's more volume, I'll get more beverage, but at the end of the day there's also more chance that it's could froth up, spurt up. So I've attached this thing to this new tube, which we call this a blow-off tube. You add it and it goes into a glass of water, which still keeps the thing sanitary. No air can go back in that way or yada yada yada. The only air that's going to come is from here down to there, and we'll know within 24 hours what it's going to do, whether it's going to be stable or whether it's going to be volatile. So once we've realised that it might be stable, what we then do is we fill this up with some solution with sanitizer in. We pop this in there like that, and that acts as the airlock. And then jobs the fish. Wait and see.